Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to the Trophy Trust, your weekly podcast for PlayStation Trophy Hunters. I'm one of your hosts, the Dazil, and joining me this evening we have Claire,
Hey guys.
we have Vec,
Yo,
and with us today we have Justin.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, guys, and Happy New Year to each and individual one of yous. Happy 2018, a whole new year of gaming, a whole new year of trophy hunting. How's everyone's January been so far?
Pretty good.
Cold. Very, very cold.
Cold, yeah. It's certainly a nippy time of year.
Gaming weather.
Yes, absolutely. It's a pretty quiet time of year actually in regards to gaming. We don't usually see the sort of big massive releases till around February onwards. So this is the time of year where we take the opportunity to pick up some of our backlogs. Some people may have got games for Christmas. Some people may have really huge backlogs from the previous year. Sales that are going on the different platforms. Claire says, it's a good time for gaming. Cold weather, no one wants to be outside, so why not be inside playing games? And speaking of playing games, let's talk about what we've been playing recently. So, Claire, would you like to kick off?
Yeah. Well, I been pretty good year for me is already. I kind of set my own kind of trophy goals and stuff like that for this year. Nothing too crazy or anything like that. My own kind of personal goals. But so far, I think we're only 5 or 6 days into January 5, and I've already got 2 platinums, so doing good this year.
Nice, making progress.
Yeah, one of them was something I started straight away in the new year. It's very easy to do. It was just Life is Strange, the prequel one. I did that. That was the first platinum, and then the second one was just something I wrapped up, which was Neverwinter. It was a really long, free to play MMO game. Took about 150 hours, but I only just got popped the platinum in January. If you're talking about the amount of work I did, I definitely did it all in December or November, something like that. But I waited till there was a double XP event to get my last character to level 60, and that was in January. So I had it all done in during the Christmas period, and I just waited until January. But
how many characters did you have to level up?
2. You have to get one character to 70 to get the majority of the trophies, and then you just have to get a second character to 60 for one trophy. Get 2 characters to level 60. But like I said, to complete the game, you needed to get one character to 70. But because it's an MMO, the grind never ever stops. You know what I mean? It took me about 150 hours, I'd say, to get the platinum. Justin is playing it as well with me, so he can testify to the length of the game and everything. I think he's
way too long.
Yeah, he's not too far off the platinum himself, but he's still he's put so much hours into it, and he can see the end is right there, but yet it's still so far away. I guarantee it for him. But I'm just kind of glad to be done with it. I would never get 100% in it because it's double the amount of hours, another 100 hours. I just can't be done with it. I probably wouldn't have even started it if I had known how long it was, but I'm glad I got it done.
Okay. Is that everything?
No, that's pretty much been it. I have the Evil Within as well, but the Evil Within 2, really, really enjoying it. But I want to finish it and kind of go for the platinum before I can give a full assessment on it.
Sure, understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, well, seeing as you were talking about Neverwinter, Justin, why don't you go next and give us your input on that game?
Well, I am about, I'd say, 75% done. I just have a couple grindy trophies yet, so log on, play for an hour or 2 a day, and then kind of wait for some stuff to end. Other than Neverwinter, I picked up a whole bunch of games on the winter sale, just a stupid amount. So I picked up Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash.
Okay.
Haven't heard of that game.
Oh, so that's where you're into.
Yeah.
Anime booby simulator.
It's titties and it's water guns and it's bikinis, and it's going to be my 69th platinum.
69.
Oh,
Nice.
So that's kind of been what I've been working on when Neverwinter is stale. And then
something completely different, eh?
Yeah, something you could just
Polarizing.
put on and just have a good time and not have to worry about all item levels and killing dragons, and it's just kind of a good palate cleanser at the end of a day.
A summer
Absolutely.
gaming.
Yeah.
This
What else
cold.
did you
You just imagine this
pick up
cold
in the sale?
Canadian sitting at home, like covered in snow, playing this like beach anime thing. You know what I mean?
I wish I would be there.
it was minus 50 degrees Celsius here the other day, and I was sitting here watching these girls bounce around in their bikinis. It was wonderful.
On the beach. Yeah. You need to get VR setups, you know that, and take it to the next
Yeah,
level.
it does have VR support. I just
Yeah,
don't
I
have the
know.
PlayStation VR.
I know that. Yeah, I heard it's
There are
pretty
some
ridiculous.
pretty outrageous trophies in that game. Like there's trophies for like roping the girls and like getting all their bikini parts off, and it's pretty ridiculous.
Wow.
Yeah, there's definitely a market for those type of games. That's for sure. And they don't keep
Oh
making
yeah,
them if
yeah.
they
That
didn't
game
sell.
definitely knows what it is. It does not shy away from it at all.
So yeah, what else did you pick up in the sale? Anything else noteworthy?
Well, I picked up Uncharted Lost Legacy just before the sale, actually. It was on sale earlier in November, and that's my backlog challenge game. And
Okay.
that game is absolutely the worst. I cannot say anything good about that game. I am not enjoying it whatsoever. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a fan
I
of the
can,
previous Uncharted games?
I am. I found that the difficulty on the Lost Legacy, like, it was unbelievable. How many times my companions killed me, and I went to jump off a building to another building, and a companion did the same time, and I fall to my death. And if anyone's played it, there's the helicopter part near the end, and it's just, it's been an absolutely terrible experience.
Okay. Well, I can offer you a tip, as I did a few episodes ago when I was speaking about it. Just finish the game on like a normal or easy difficulty, and you unlock the cheats, and then you can just activate the cheats and then beat it on crushing mode with the cheats enabled. Infinite ammo or specific weapons you can unlock, like magnums and rocket launchers and such. So make it easier on yourself. Just utilize the cheats is what platinum.
I am done the difficulty trophies. I just need to go back and do some cleanup.
Okay.
I just haven't felt the draw to go back to that yet.
All right then. Anything else?
I've also been playing a lot of Fortnite Battle Royale still.
Ooh.
That game came out last year, and it's been my multiplayer game. I got a lot of in real life friends that jump on every other night or whatever and play that game for a while. So that game is incredible as well.
Oh, good. It's always good to have a game to play together with real life friends. It's something that you can sort of socialize over, and it was like for me a few years ago with Destiny. I had a few people in real life who were playing it as well, and it was kind of I wouldn't say a bonding exercise, so to speak, but you kind of get where I'm going with it. It's always fun to have something, a common interest to share with real life friends, something you can sort of, relate and bond on, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that you've got something like that to play amongst friends. Have you got anything else, or should I move on?
Nope, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. Vec, what have you been up to?
I'm finished Killzone 1. I can finally give my full thoughts on the game.
Yeah, you weren't too
my.
impressed with that last time, were you?
Yeah, now I finally got a tick on why people like it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. While the gameplay is a bit dated, I managed to plow on through. And honestly, I thought I was. How should I say this? I was expecting to be like really hard, really difficult to maneuver and such, but I grew to like not only the story but the gameplay as well. As I went from it. It's just I love this game, and at the same time I hate it because it has old tropes that puts it in new tropes. And first of all, a sprint is limited with a bar, and that's a problem. But nowadays it's like you don't see that, and with the levels being so short, it isn't a problem, and the levels are so short, and that makes the game so much easier. And I don't know how to feel about this game. Oh wow, it's a wonderful, wonderful train wreck, but I love it so much.
Sounds like you're going through a roller coaster of emotions.
Yes, that is exactly how I feel.
You were sort of all up and down about that Twister thingamy game that you were playing a few weeks ago. You were sort of all over the place. You sort of, it was like a love-hate sort of what do they call it, a Marmite game. You know, you sort of love it
Yeah,
or hate it, but you seem to have
it's
both. You know.
it's like I love some aspects of the game, but at the same time, I hate some minor things that make me go like, why? And some design choices that make the game age horribly after a long periods of time. I don't know. It's a weird mixed bag. I love it so much, and it's so worth it of like riding on top of it. So I would love to see a remaster of this. I love these characters. It's a great campaign, but at the same time, the gameplay has aged not much by a bit. That makes it so difficult to go back. So there's that. Um, but let's see. Besides that, I've also been Brink.
Brink, is it?
Uh,
The PS3
Brink.
Brink. Yeah, didn't that?
Yep.
That's like
Yeah.
multiplayer, isn't it?
Yeah.
PS3?
It's.
I thought the
Yep.
servers would be like dead.
No, it's better than that. It's empty as fuck.
People
Oh.
bought
So,
that game.
Yeah.
that game is free right now, so you can actually download it. So,
Free? It's free to
yeah,
play?
it's free.
What?
Yeah, that game is free now.
Nah, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me so I didn't want to go back to Brink just yet because the servers are still active, and they will be active for a long period of time because Splash Damage, the developers of the game, we're working with Bethesda, so the servers will be active for a long time.
Oh.
Now, this is interesting. I got a request from another member here that got Brink during the winter break. Um, and I really like and dislike this because he was like, "Okay, you have Brink right now. You have the time. Okay, let's grind for these trophies." And I will get to one of the trophies in particular later on. But right now, I really, really did not like going through that game once again. But at the same time, I did. It's like another love-hate relationship. But at the same time, it's like it modernized what established basically what now modern shooters do, like having a parkour system in a game, and it's amazing. It's it's another beautiful train wreck, but at the same time, I got so frustrating with the multiplayer, and I'll get to that a bit more in detail. But that's all I've been playing recently. So, oh wait, I got one more game
Okay.
this weekend. I started playing Hat in Time.
A Hat in Time, is it?
Is that
Yeah,
out
Yeah,
now?
I've heard of
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
Seen people talking about it, but I haven't actually investigated it any deeper than just the
PS4
name.
platformer, I think.
Is that the one that was the timed exclusive on Xbox?
no, it's a Kickstarter game that was, got successfully funded, and everyone was hoping that it would release sometime last year, and it got released by late mid December, on PC first, and then it got released on PS4 and Xbox One later that same week. Um, what I can say is that the game is amazing. It's a 3D platformer. Um, and it's beautiful. It's honestly, it's like playing should I say, a old, not so old, like a GameCube type platformer game, like one of those B graded platformer games, but it's so
I'm
wonderful at the same.
looking at the a picture of it now, and the first game it reminds me of is like the art style, for example. It's a Sly Cooper games, that kind of cell shaded, cartoony kind of
Yes,
style. It's kind of bright
yes.
colors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks nice. I'm gonna have to investigate this game a little closer because this might be right up my alley. I like 3D platformer games, and like I said, mentioned Sly Cooper. I really like those games.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, I'll have a look at
It,
that. Actually, thank you for bringing
it's
that
an
to my attention.
yeah, it's an open world 3D collectathon. So you collect a bunch of time pieces, which are the fuel source for one of the more recent this event that happened that you got. Okay, let me give you a very synopsis. So you're playing a small girl that is going through a spaceship right across a mafia town. And in it, and in it, you get like tapped like in the glass says like a mafia goon was trying to pay you for a toll, and he breaks the glass because you don't want to pay it, and it shoots out and breaks like a safe that has all the timepiece, which is the fuel source for the ship, and it breaks out and it goes flying through across the whole world, and you have to collect all those pieces, and in order to restore your ship and go back to your home. It's a wonderful, colorful game, and I highly recommend it to anyone.
Sounds
I
like
still haven't finished it,
sounds
but
like
it's
one of those
really, really fun.
like PlayStation 2 era child or teenage kind of platforms, like Jack and like what you said does. That's what it seems like to me anyway. So like trying to go back to that era, that golden generation of platformers on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I'll agree
Yep.
with that for sure. That era of where like 3D platform was really kind of opened up. They were like established in the sort of PS1 era, for example, and then as the technology sort of improved, it gave them the resources to become larger and grander and more things to collect and do, such as like look at the Jack games and how they expanded over the course of the original sort of trilogy, and the Sly Cooper games, they expanded as well from the first to the third game, and so on. So yeah,
Yeah.
looks like it's kind of a revival of that era in this game, or
Yeah.
that's what it's trying to achieve, based on the
Yeah.
images as well. Other than the images I'm looking at right now, I don't have any
Way,
experience.
way better than Ukulele ever did. So it's honestly worth looking.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, and that's everything you've been playing so far.
Yeah.
Righto,
What
I guess
about
it's my
what?
my turn then, eh?
Yeah. What about you, Daz? What have you been playing?
Well, since the last episode, I mentioned in the last episode that I bought some PSVR games, um, and I just started playing them, so I didn't go into any detail about them. I haven't been playing this, but this is what I got. I got Doom, uh, what's it called,
VR.
VFR for Christmas. I haven't actually touched that yet. I also picked up Accounting Plus, and I picked up Shooty Fruity. All three of them are PSVR games. I wanted to go on a little PSVR binge. I haven't really touched PSVR in a little while, and I really wanted to spend some more time with it because I really like it. And yeah, thought it was time to break out the old headset and get VR in. So
I just
yeah, go on.
I was gonna say about Accounting Plus. I heard that game is really good. What's about it? What's about it?
Well, I will get to that in just 2 seconds. Doom, I'm going to set aside because, like I said, haven't played it. So more of that in future, and I'll explain a little bit more about that afterwards. But Accounting Plus, okay, it's from one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland. He also provides voicing for the game. Accounting Plus, it's a really surreal, bizarre experience. How do I even explain it? It's a very short game. I managed to platinum it in about an hour 40, and that's with multiple playthroughs of it. It's really short if you know what to do when you know what to do. The sort of gist of the game is it's supposed to be an accounting simulator where you sit in an office and do accounting, but you end up kind of like Inception. You end up going into a VR game, then into a VR game, then into a VR game, and getting kind of lost in VR. It's got some really wacky dialogue. It breaks the fourth wall a lot. It's very aware of itself. It's very aware of gaming as a culture. Makes a lot of references to like pop culture references within gaming, so to speak.
It's done by
Pokes fun.
one of the Rick and Morty creators, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Justin
Yeah.
Roiland. It pokes fun at gaming as well, quite a lot. It's just a very basic VR game when you sort of get down to the nitty gritty of it. Moving stuff around with your hands, doing little kind of puzzles, interacting with characters and NPCs. It's more of an interactive experience than a game. I think I would call it, because it's all about sort of standing there and taking in like what's going on around you, rather than really interacting with stuff too much. The voice acting is absolutely hilarious. I was really laughing at this game because of how aware of itself as a game and how it breaks the fourth wall. just the opening intro, just like basically the opening main menu has about 20 minutes of dialogue just in it if you just stand still and don't do anything. And that's what I was doing. I was just standing still listening to this brilliant voice track of the main menu character called Clovis. He's just like a disembodied voice of the main menu, and he's just I don't want to I don't want to spoil it. You just have to play this game if you have PSVR. I really, really recommend this game. If you like Rick and Morty, definitely play this game because the humor and the character designs and the voices, they're all sort of the same. It's really cheap as well. It's when I bought it, it was it had launched with a PlayStation Plus discount as well. So it was only about £9. It was definitely under £10 for me. So it's really cheap and it's really short as well, and it's a really easy platinum. You can.
Oh.
I like I said, I platinumed it in 1 hour and 40 minutes. Really, really easy. I used a guide, although I I don't regret it, but I'd say that I would recommend don't use a guide because I didn't know how long the game was until I finished it, and then I was like, oh, it's over, it's done. So I would highly recommend playing the game fully first. It will take you about an hour to get through once you've explored everything, and then go back and do the trophies because none of them are actually missable at all because the game is so short. I missed a trophy and I ran through the whole game in about 10 minutes because once you know what to do, it's just a matter of teleporting to the right points in the game and so on and so forth. So definitely recommend that. Really cool game, and it's a must-have for PSVR for sure.
Daz, I have a question. You said a platinum in that game. It's a VR game.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm glad you brought that up actually because a lot of PSVR games don't have platinum trophies, which is a pet peeve of mine because I really like PSVR, and as a trophy hunter, I feel a little bit snubbed by a lot of the games not actually having platinums. Like I've mentioned before, Psychonauts, The Rhombus of Ruin. That's a really cool game. That was longer than Accounting Plus by a couple of hours. It had loads to do in it. Didn't have a platinum trophy. Batman, the Arkham VR, again longer than Accounting Plus. Had way more to do in it. Didn't have a platinum. So yeah, it was really nice to have such a sort of a nice short experience that did reward you with a platinum at the end of the game as well. And as I said, it's very aware of itself as a game and pokes fun at gaming culture. So like the name of the platinum trophy is "You Are So Good, You Are So Special" in a kind of sarcastic manner. There's no, I'm not going to ruin it. I'm not going to spoil it. Play the game. Just play the game. Honestly, if you have PSVR, play this game.
You're gonna ramble. So let's go on to the next thing. What you were playing something about your 250 platinum, which is what something called Juice or something?
No. This well, first off, yes, I did. I reached my 250 platinum today.
Congrats.
Thank you very much. I was aiming to get 250 before 2017 was out, but I missed it by one. But no matter, I'm still in the first week of January 2018, so not too far off. The game in question, what we're talking about, is Shooty Fruity. Again, a PSVR game. This is a really good game, and as I mentioned, it has a platinum trophy, which is a bonus for a PSVR game. It is okay. You're in a supermarket. You're a supermarket employee. You work on the checkouts, and the idea of the game is you have to scan products through the checkout and bag them up, or not bag them up, but slide them down the bagging ramp. But as you're doing your job, fruit come alive. Fresh produce and fruit and stuff start coming at you from like the shelves. They're like apples and lemons, and they've all got like aggressive cartoon faces on them. And you use your PlayStation Move controllers, one in each hand, to fend them off with a whole variety of firearms: handguns, magnums, shotguns, submachine guns, assault rifles, grenade launchers, hand grenades, frag grenades, whatever. And basically, it's survival. You get a certain time limit in each level, and you just have to survive. If the fruit comes too close to your checkout, they start damaging the station you're working on. You've got like a row of lights on the top of your checkout, which represents the life bar of your checkout, whatever you want to call it. And if they damage it and you fail, you fail the level and you have to start again.
Wait, were you just describing everyday cash registers right now? Supermarket cash registers?
Yeah, checkouts, cash registers, whatever you want to call them.
That is amazing. That sounds like the best premise to a game. Is like, You're just working your everyday retail job, and then immediately after, fruit started hacking. Okay, good.
It sounds a lot like Fruit Ninja, the mobile game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sort of is in that in the sort of regard of like attacking fruit. Yeah, the it's not just like a checkout or a cash register or whatever you want to call it. There's two other levels. There's one where you working in the canteen of the supermarket, where you have to where trays kind of come along on a conveyor belt in front of you, and you have to put the right coloured food packages on the trays as they go by. And there's also another one where we're working in a warehouse, and you have to um, pack the products as they go past on a conveyor belt into the correct slot. So basically, you're doing um, you know, this sort of work with your hands whilst trying to keep away the fruit and veg, and you get bonuses for it. Depending on how far away you can pick the fruit up. And I have to say, the PlayStation Move controls are so accurate. You get laser sights on almost all the weapons, so you can really pick like fruit enemies from really, really far away. There's a whole different variety of fruit, which are also each individual fruit has a different kind of like attack pattern. For example, you have like apples, they'll kind of like just hop towards you, so they're quite slow. You have limes, they roll, so they're a bit quicker. You have cherries, which can fly, like they spin the sort of the stem. They spin and like a helicopter, so they fly at you. You have like mangoes, they fly as well for some reason. Bananas, they fly. They kind of like the skin is peeled down and they spin like a helicopter. You have huge watermelons that roll towards you. You have pomegranates that roll towards you and spit the seeds at you. Raspberries that fire seeds, strawberries that fire seeds, grapes that fire off in clusters. It's really a well designed game. It's really fun, and another recommendation for PlayStation VR.
Wow.
I picked it up at full price at like £15, so it's kind of like PSN game level of pricing.
Oh wow.
Sound good?
That's cheap. Wow, it's interesting.
It is really good. It's got a whole variety of challenges to it. Each level has 3 stars you can get by doing particular things like survive with 80% health, kill, for example, like 10 grapes with like shotguns, like loads of like individual challenges. And there's also 3 marathon modes where you have to survive 30 minutes in each mode. They're probably the most challenging ones because you actually have to survive 30 real world minutes. So yeah, you can take quite a battering after like quite a lot of waves. I failed a few times, but I managed to get it in the end. Not a really hard platinum, really. It's just a few of the challenges can be a little bit annoying because of how specific a few of the challenges are. But overall, really good. And again, surprised how well the PlayStation Move controllers work because the accuracy is crazy. You can just the way you can pick like fruit from like so far away using the laser sight for like maximum points and combos and such. And yeah, so definitely recommend.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just a quick tidbit. For the PS PlayStation Move, you said it was accurate. It was because the camera has improved. Because at first the camera was a standstill, like one of those USB ones, and now it's upgraded to more of a clip-on to the TV. Not much of a problem to set it up, like the PS3 one. So it's much better to play PS Move now. So I think that's maybe.
Oh, you mean the comparison between the PS3 sort of eye and the PS4 sort of camera array?
Mm-hmm.
Like the PS4 camera, it's got 2 cameras in it, so I guess it has a wider sort of radius with sensing
depth and field of view.
Depth, yeah, depth of field is what I was looking for. So yeah, it's definitely improved. The combination of the Move with the new camera and the VR is definitely the way to go with it. I didn't really encounter many problems with it either, like in terms of calibration and whatnot.
There are new models of the PlayStation Move controllers coming out, but as far as I'm aware, I think the only actual internal update to them is mini USB charging ports rather than the fatter old.
Yeah, that's correct. The only difference between the newer reissued Move controllers, if you want to call it that, is I think they've changed the material the middle button's made out of. It's not like kind of transparent, translucent plastic, and it's just solid.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not micro. It's micro USB instead of mini USB now. So
would it have like options and a share instead of pressing start then? Because when you go back to the old ones,
I'm not sure actually. I haven't looked closely at that, but
I assume they would because that's continuity. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suppose the new ones still. The new ones still have the
RIP.
Move symbol on them as well. You know, that kind of squiggle, the
Yeah.
Move logo.
And the crystal or that button in the front of it, like you said, the clear kind of button or whatever. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, definitely. But like I said, I think a lot of people are going to think that these new Move controllers are like different somewhat to the other ones. Like my Move controllers, when I used them, they were perfect. You know what I mean? Even though they are built for like last generation or anything like that, they're perfect now, and you don't need the newer ones compared to the old ones. You know, just in case people think that like it's better actual tech wise. You know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It just gives it a longer battery time, and the micro USB. There's nothing. Oh, and the new Move controllers don't work with a PS3, so yeah, just
backwards compatible.
keep an eye on one.
No.
Yeah, it's not backwards.
Can you
compatible.
tell from the like new images? Does it have options and like share button?
I can't see.
That makes
there's
sense
no
to me
sideways.
because obviously, you know, they've gotten rid of start and select, so I would just assume that because of continuity they would do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you have old Move controllers lying around, other than batteries maybe being depleted from owning them over the years, I think they're fine. Like I've had mine since Move came out. I got them on the day Move came out for PS3, and as far as I'm concerned, the batteries are fine on mine because I haven't really used them. And over the years, every now and then, I've sort of got them out and charged them up to keep the batteries kind of healthy. But they're definitely not like cut out mid game. I've managed to play Shooty Fruity for like a few days with only charging them a few times. So I got lucky. I guess maybe I stored them.
No, I think because I bought two secondhand like separately, and then I obviously just joined them as a pair. And for me, it reminds me of that golden time when we had controllers where the batteries would actually last longer than like a day or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely.
These PlayStation 3 controllers could go so far. The PlayStation 3 controller could go so far. I don't actually like the controller because even when I've been playing a lot of PlayStation 3 games and using the PlayStation 4 controller, but like the battery, the amount of time it lasted on a PlayStation 3 controller and the Move controllers was just fantastic. I don't know whatever they did to the PS4 controller, because it's definitely not the LED, because LEDs take up very, very small amount of energy. But whatever they did about the battery is just terrible, honestly, because less than half, 40% I would say of its original capacity. I'd say that's an estimate.
I think it's a good chunk of it is the speaker too. Having the speaker in.
I have that off.
To find the games where it uses.
Yeah, I have that all off. I even have vibration off because I don't like vibrations. I actually don't like vibration whatsoever.
Nobody likes vibration.
Yeah, I have
everyone turns that off.
A system setting, like I have that turned off. So even with all that off and like micromanaging the battery on my controller, I would say it's 40% what a PlayStation 3 controller could give you just by default.
I've gone back to PS3, like between PS4 and all that, I find the vibration quite jarring because I'm so used to not having it turned on. It's like, oh, you know, or when I play Nintendo Switch and the vibration is on, I just find it's quite a novelty, you know. But yeah, definitely have it turned off. I've had it turned off, I think, basically since I've ever had PS4. But
I've had it turned off for longer than an entire generation. Honestly, I turned off PlayStation 3 and everything. I just never liked it. Never liked it at all. It wasn't for battery reasons either. It was for my own because I actually did not like it. I would sit there and a game would be like in a cutscene and it'd be like vibrating for 30 seconds because of some chap is just going through a struggle. Like, I don't care about that. Someone's getting choked and your controller's going mental for 30 seconds like that.
Where you accidentally put it down on your desk and it just like rattles off.
Yeah.
It's like a phone.
It's worse than a phone.
Hello?
Worse.
Yeah, I mean, like smartphones are quite subtle with their rings and vibrates these days, but like it's like an old like Nokia mobile phone where it just like takes the desk out by just like vibrating, you know.
Like
but the only time that vibration's ever been memorable for me was that Psycho Mantis bit in Metal Gear Solid 1 where he asks you to like, put your controller down and I will move it with the power of my mind.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, that was the only bit. And I remember having like wooden flooring in my bedroom as a kid and I put it down and like shake the whole damn house because, you know, vibration was just so violent in those controllers. It's not subtle like smartphones, like how we used to these days with like, you know, like haptic feedback engines in our phones. It's just like two huge weights spinning around in the handles. So it's like less subtle. It's better now, of course, in like modern controllers. But back then it was just kind of like quite, well, lacked the subtlety of modern controller vibration.
To be honest, I think it's a lot of like like kind of rose tinted glasses when you're looking through memories and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because I like back then, I don't even know if you could turn off the vibration like in certain games and stuff like that. But like not a lot of people would have. So Metal Gear could have done like by default have this game experience.
You could usually switch them off in the game options, but not on a system level. No.
Yeah, maybe.
No.
But I don't think you get any of that nowadays. Like it would be a novel to me nowadays. If a game tried to do that to me nowadays, I would just like, fuck, get on with it. Like, come on, you know what I mean? I don't have time for this kind of crap. But when you were younger, it did blow your mind as like Psycho Mantis and all that, you know. So
we'll never have that moment again. Like,
no, I think it's just because, like, honestly, at that time, I would say analog sticks. They didn't have vibration in the normal PlayStation 1 controllers that didn't have analog, because PlayStation 1 came out and it didn't have analog sticks at first.
Because then they introduced the Dualshock, you know, like I assume the shock part is the vibration part of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, like, there could have been some PlayStation 1s that you're out there just playing with the normal, you know, remember that very first controller without the Dualshocks? Remember that one?
Yeah, it seems so thin and naked now that you think back to it.
I'd love to get my hands on one though, because I played on it a lot, you know.
Yeah,
I spent so much time.
Just going back a topic about like battery life, I think the best way, if you're lucky enough to have bought or have two controllers, the best way around it is just always having one plugged in and charged, ready to go. That's how I do it. And every time I finish a game session, every time I finish a game session, I will just swap them over. So like, I will rarely be, almost never caught out with a dead battery. I always rotate them every single time. So yeah, that's a tip.
For me, it's like I don't play that much to warrant a charging. When I finish the session, I just leave it.
Sure.
Yeah,
I have like a favorite controller. I have like the PlayStation 1 anniversary one, and then just one of the newer versions that I got with the PlayStation Pro. So like I always try to actually use my anniversary edition controller. I don't know why, I just prefer it. Each controller feels different, I think. That's kind of weird. Like, I don't know if you guys feel that. Like, I get a personal feel off mine. Maybe
I've
sticks for sure.
Yeah, because I have.
I don't like
buying a brand new controller and the sticks are loose already.
I don't like the. I've never liked the design of the DualShock analog sticks. That kind of like weird concave but bump in the middle. I'm just so used to PS3 having the convex round nubs that since like day one, since owning PS4, I've always had like the rubber caps on them, the grips or whatever you want to call them. So I'm just used to having the grips, and I have two controllers. One of them has one type of grip on, and the other one has like a newer type of grip on where they're even like larger surface area. And I definitely prefer the larger surface area because it's more reminiscent of like PS3 DualShock controllers. Just so used to the smoother, larger surface area.
It's funny actually because like we're kind of talking about the generational differences between controllers, and although we might prefer the form factor of the PlayStation 4, I think a lot of us are agreeing the internals of the PlayStation 3 were a lot better. But
well, at least the battery,
yeah, for me, like I also agree that I don't really like the concave, is it that PlayStation 4 like pointed inwards analog sticks compared to like the outwards ones, and not for any other reason. Like I'm a very bare person. I'd never like standard controller, nothing else. I'm not one of those people who go out and buy scruff controllers with all these crazy like 32 buttons on the very back of it and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Nah, fuck that. That's PC territory as far as I'm concerned. But
I've aired my opinions on the DualShock. I mean, like in terms of like ergonomically, it's a nice controller. The grips are great at being bigger than the DualShock 3. But I've always found, but I've always found the touchpad to be pretty like redundant, really, because back in the day, like obviously when Sony were designing, it's like, oh, we've got a touchpad so developers can really utilize it. But other than like pinch to zoom on map screens in open world games, it's not really been used that much. Like,
I think
maybe some like novelty.
Yeah, the lights are pretty good. I don't mind the touchscreen, but I think the biggest thing is the speaker. I don't think anyone uses the speaker properly whatsoever. Like, and they should definitely just get rid of it, because I mean the amount of money it must cost them to have like speakers and like you know I can only they just
I do forget.
I think.
I do forget it has a speaker in it sometimes. Cause
yeah,
when a game uses it, I'm wondering where the sound's coming from, and it's coming from the
scares
speaker.
the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like loads of I can't remember what it was. There was one game I was playing where like fucking man, sirens and
Evil?
stuff like that, yeah, or something horror based, like something meant to scare you would come specifically out of the controller, like, and you feel like it's in your face rather than, I don't know, it just,
Wow.
well,
Oh wait,
I wasn't too big into it, but what I did want to say was there's a, with the controller actually, like I always use standard controllers, no other kind of modifications, but with this generation, I just don't like those analog sticks, you know what I mean? And actually, funnily enough, used an Xbox One controller and I found that their analog sticks were way better this gen, way better. But I actually used rubber cap third party ones on my PlayStation 4 controller as well. Not happy that I have to use it, but it's way better because
yeah.
it feels better, and the material that the controllers are built out of isn't the best either. So
At least they redesigned the triggers better. Remember, like the analog, the triggers on the DualShock 3, those kind of they kind of like curved
No.
downwards.
Yeah.
They were really uncomfortable.
I remember
No.
so
Fingers
much,
slipping off
like
them.
I used to play zombies with people so much, like with my friends before I was doing trophy hunting. I used to play zombies a lot, like, and I remember every time we'd leave a crawler because the game is like live, so you'd leave like half a zombie dead before going into the next round, so that you could also take a piss break or just get a drink or whatever, have a smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember every single time I had to like meticulously and gently leave my PlayStation 3 controller on a table, because if I left it anywhere else it would press R2 and just like kill the zombie or something like that, you know what I mean? And I'd just be gone, because if you just throw the controller, like they're so easily tapped, the back trigger buttons, so I'm glad like I said, the form factor of the PS4 controller is perfect. The size of it, everything on it, I think is perfect. It's just I think if they changed the battery, probably maybe got rid of the touchpad and everything and changed the analog sticks, I think it'd be perfect.
Okay. Well, I think we've bashed the DualShock 4 for long enough now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I like it, but
No,
I
I do.
I played a lot of 360. So.
Yeah, like I said, I've never played Xbox, so my hands are like molded around the PlayStation controller, because that's the console I've used my entire life, and I do think that DualShock 4 is the best. But like I just have, like, coming from a PlayStation 3 controller, you notice the battery drops so much, because Xbox always has like.
Glad I don't have to replace batteries anymore.
That's what I was saying. Like Xbox have replaceable batteries, so a lot of people were just using putting in a charge pack or like new AA batteries or something like that. Whereas we have built-in lithium ones, so we've always kind of had to make do. I prefer the built-in ones, actually, personally.
Well, me
Hmm. I guess it just depends on the length of your sessions, whether you have more than one controller to swap around in, and just the environment and like obviously temperature affects battery life as well, storage, and how much activity. There's loads of factors and loads of different types of ways that people play with controllers or store them or whatnot, which are, all variables that affect the life of a controller. I mean, personally speaking, I've never really been caught out, but like I said, I have two to rotate. If I had one, there'd probably be many instances where it died out.
I know we've talked about controllers quite enough, and I know obviously it's not a controller based like specific podcast or anything, but one thing I did want to say was maybe you guys could give a hint on it as well. Actually, I remember when the PlayStation 4 came out, some people were asking, like Shuya Yoshida on Twitter and like in interviews, what would be the extension port at the very bottom of it be alongside the headphone jack, and he used to just give a smile and like say, oh, it's going to come up and all that. And obviously a lot of people, including myself, thought at that time it would be some kind of connection between a PSVR, but now that we're more than halfway through the PlayStation 4's lifetime, we're closer to the PlayStation 5 now than the PlayStation 4 launch at this stage, and I still can't think of what they're going to bring out to plug into the extension port. Like, is it used for anything? Am I missing something?
Claire, it's like the Vita. Remember the old gen Vita? It has like a port
I was
on
just
the
about
top.
to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, the top port, it literally doesn't do anything.
They had a top. I only had the OLED Vita. I didn't have the newer version Slimline one, so I had to like a port to plug in a card or a cartridge or something like that.
It will be remained unused forever, so that's gonna be the way. So
I think that when they design these things, they must just like chuck a port on them just in case developers want to make some kind of peripheral or accessory that plugs into it,
But
rather than it be like
there's not one in America. This is a universal port as well. Like, so I'm like thinking, like, they put that port and paid for the pins and paid for the design and everything, and like in every single manufactured controller out there just doesn't seem to be a plan or anything to take advantage of it, you know? Which is very, very odd considering it's on every single controller by default.
Oh, I know what it is. It's supposed to be a built-in speaker and stereo headset jack
The
for the
extension?
high quality. Yeah, that extension is supposed to be a built-in speaker and stereo headset. That's weird. But
Oh no, it is used. By the way, I've got a picture here of a dock, a charging dock
oh,
that uses them.
there you.
Hmm.
Oh,
It's a secondary charging port.
what?
It must be
Yeah,
more
like
than that, though.
the
The
ones
port must have
where you,
like data access or something like that. It must have something more than just charge, you know what I mean? Because they were just, I don't know, it seems very. I may look into it and give the technical specifications. Yeah, the technical specifications of the PlayStation 4 controller will be available on the podcast next week.
Did
We'll do a full teardown.
we're going the anatomy of a controller. That's gonna be the title.
We'll do a
Follow
full
up
teardown.
next week.
yeah, just got a picture of a dock where it just docks in, sitting up normal, like normal way up, and it just sort of docks into the bottom of it. So I don't know, a secondary charging port, or for data. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Shall we do the news then, Bex? We're
Yeah.
on well off off the beaten path
Slow
here,
news
but
week anyway, so.
It
yeah,
was
that's true.
Yeah. Yeah, I was about to say it's gonna be a slow news weekend, but we got a bit of news. So let's get on to that. Hey, this is DJ Atomica speaking, and welcome to Burnout Paradise HD, coming to the PS4 March 16 in Japan. That's a good segue.
For Japanese gamers only.
Yeah, Japanese gamers only. No US nor EU plebs. What do you guys think about this?
Well, I'll get my 2 cents in first because I have least interest in this game, so might as well just get me out of the way. I had played it when it was on PS Plus, back on PS3. It was all right, I guess. Didn't play much more than a few hours of it because I am literally no interest in racing games whatsoever. So I thought it was all right. A load of people really seemed to like that game back in the day, and this news seems to have a lot of people hyped, especially on Twitter today. A lot of people celebrating over the announcement of this game getting a air quotations HD re-release. So yeah, no interest from me. So that's me out of the way.
I platinum it on PlayStation 3. It's a fantastic game, really good arcade racer, you know what I mean? Really good community and co-op feel to the game, so I'm looking forward because a lot of people really liked it as well. So if the game will and probably will come out in a Western release, I think a lot of people here in the Discord are gonna like group up together and play it and stuff like that. And I'm also really interested to see the trophy list as well, you know, because I was kind of wondering because I've seen it on Twitter as well, but is this just something that's been reported and half leaked by some websites with some date, or is it like proper?
It
like,
wasn't-
is this announced, or like is this happening, or what? You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, so it was leaked last year, but there was no like specific dates. It was mostly like an internal leak about apparently they were trying to HD port some games from
I
the
find
EA
find a
cloud.
lot of those internal leaks are just some fanboys on Twitter trying to create
yeah.
ammo to fight other people and all that kind of stuff as well, though. So I'm wondering, like, some magazines came out now and said it's real, it's coming out, but it's only coming out for PlayStation in Japan so far. Like, I'm still wondering, is this real? Like, is this happening or what?
It's just the article itself, which is from Gamatsu. It's very weird just looking at it because it only says that it will come out in Japan for like 4,104 yen, which I don't know right now, which is the
Yeah, because like
actual.
to me, EA seem like a company that releases most of their games in the Western world, and then to me, Burnout Paradise seems like a game that would do better in the West rather than Japan.
$40.
So I don't know why it's coming out and being leaked for that, you know. Unless I hopefully tomorrow I log on and there's gonna be like at PlayStation are gonna say get ready for Burnout in March 21st in EU or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, but
Well, according to this Kotaku article I've got here, which was uploaded today, it just says EA has announced it'll be releasing Burnout Paradise HD Remaster in Japan on March 16, 2018, and
so
that's
there
all they
is-
know
There
as
is
of
an
now.
EA confirmation of this game coming out in Japan at least, and so like, because then I safely assume that if they have a Burnout remaster, it's just going to be released across all regions. You know what I mean? But like, it's very odd that at the moment it looks like it's Japan only.
I can't see why it won't ever eventually reach Western market.
Yeah, that's the market it's at, and probably historically did best in as well. Like, I don't think Japanese gamers are too big about like arcade racers. You know what I mean?
I mean, the other thing is that might be testing the waters for an HD ports for most of the lineups, because Dead Space, that's a trilogy that everyone's clamoring about for being ported on the PS4, so they might be working on those.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it, that EA, who have like gone, they're not interested in releasing any remakes or remasters, have sort of gone ahead and done it. So maybe they're turning the tides. You know, maybe they're trying it out.
Too much backlash off microtransactions from Star Wars Battlefront. They thought, okay, what we're going to fill the void, that money void in for the investors, is if we can't put microtransactions and everything. They're like, yeah, they were like, okay, let's just remaster all the games and fucking stick microtransactions in them again. You know what I mean?
Was there any microtransactions in Burnout?
Can't remember.
One thing, there was like customizable cars that you can buy. Like, for example, you can
Maybe
get the DeLorean.
Beginning infancy of like microtransactions, not this full-on whoring that we see nowadays of microtransactions in games. They'll definitely adjust it to be the updated framework of whoring, I'm sure, though. But
would it be interesting if they just like remaster all the games that have microtransactions in? Like, so don't do Dead Space 1 or 2, and just like do 3, where it had like the terrible like weapon microtransactions where you used to buy weapon upgrade modules and all that nonsense.
I see the future. They're gonna monetize the boost in that game. Ooh.
Yeah, I think they'll, like, if they do go through the effort, I don't think they would like only remaster the stuff that they could put microtransactions in from previously. I think those fuckers would remaster a game and build it so that they could put microtransactions in it, even if it wasn't there originally. You know what I mean? Like the way fucking people have done the trials in like Crash and stuff like that. That wasn't there originally, but they did that, you know, in a remastered version. So I can definitely see him do it again. And one thing I wanted to actually talk about is, I don't know, have you, Vec or Justin, have you played Burnout or got the platinum or not? Right?
Yes,
Okay.
Platinum.
Yeah, I
What
got
about
the...
you, Justin?
I have not played this game.
Yeah, it's very, very good. But Vec will remember then that it had one of the most worst trophies in the world, and the only reason why it was bad because you needed a PlayStation peripheral to get it, which was basically the PlayStation camera, because you had to when you're in an online game, basically the entire world was like live online. So as you're driving your car down the road, you could see somebody else driving their car down the road, and you had to like smack into them and take out their car, and then when you did that to that person, your profile picture would show to that person, but you had to take like a custom profile picture off a PlayStation 3i camera, so that it would send like that and then send it to him as well.
You're close. It's supposed to be a live reaction of you getting. That's the idea.
Yeah.
That's why when you take a picture, it's actually a picture right then and there, like their reaction of you being crashed.
Oh, so it like you have to have the camera connected and then you crash and then it takes the photo of it. Yeah, I knew it was kind of something like that. But like basically, I remember I had to like borrow like my partner's son, my partner's brother. He had the iCamera, and I got a lend off him for like a week years ago just to get this trophy done. But like, yeah, you wouldn't have been able to get the platinum unless you basically went out there and bought a camera for it. And if they're going to do a remaster of it and like copy the same trophy list, a lot of people are wondering now, like, will that trophy be in it? Will you need to have a PlayStation 4 camera? Me and Daz were talking about this the other day, and I think they'll probably do it where they'll release some kind of smart app companion for the game, and they'll allow you to like upload your photo then. But like you said then, Vec, if the nature of the trophy was like taking the photo in the instant and then sending it to that person, I'm not too sure how it's going to go. But if they do add like that trophy again to the trophy list, it's going to be pretty shit, you know what I mean? Because that means the platinum will be locked behind the peripheral, basically, that you have to purchase.
I don't know, as crappy as like trophies being locked behind peripherals is, and we've had the backlash of them being locked behind DLC and all that kind of stuff in the past. But I don't know. I mean, usually with like HD remasters and ports, it's usually like a quick buck, so to speak. I don't know. I don't see them developing a smartphone app or some kind of like not second screen experience for the PlayStation app just for a remaster or a port. It just doesn't seem like something that they'd bother doing. But I don't know. Maybe it is possible.
Yeah. You know what's the first trophy I'm gonna do immediately after I get that game? It's gonna be the 8 people on the stadium.
Yeah, that's another thing. There's massive co-op stuff and all that because there's massive online stuff. But yeah, you need to get
Yep.
like 8 people in this one section, like the stadium basically.
The Wildcat Stadium.
There is an offline method. I still got that as well. Is that you can get like a load of police cars to chase you, and then once you think you have 8 police cars, and then you get them into the like bowl or the big stadium and everything like that, it can count, but it's still extremely hard. But like, I remember like that was one of my first like trophy lists I had to like go beyond to actually earn. Like I had to get out of my comfort zone. I had to actually go meet people online because this was about like I don't know 2010 PlayStation 3 I think when I played it. You know what I mean? Yet I had to go beyond my comfort zone at the time to meet people, to do co-op stuff, and also get the camera to get the trophy on that as well. So it was one of those first platinums that really taught me that you have to put in a bit more extra effort than just your skill and your time.
Okay, what's next on the news, Vic?
Oh, minute. The other one is that I'm gonna fix an error I said last week on the podcast. Remember I said that Psychopaths was on PS4, for PS Plus members.
I
I love.
vaguely recall that. Yes.
Yes, I recommended you this game for the PS Plus, but apparently it's only NA, so North American use.
Oh, the visual novel sort of thing that you
Yeah.
recommended me. Yes, I remember now.
Yes. Then that game is only NA. So if you're trying to get the PS Plus lineup and you're like from EU or AU, then you're probably not gonna get this one for PS4. Apparently, it was a typo that was put on the blog post in the US version, and that typo didn't make it to the EU nor the AU versions. So basically, we got an extra game from. Sorry.
Oh well,
So, yeah,
no worries.
yeah.
No loss to me. I've already stated my opinion on visual novels. They are not for me, so no
Me
no
either.
loss there
I'll pass.
personally.
I'll pass.
Yeah.
Because I would just end up pressing
Okay.
X for 20 hours and skipping.
Yeah, that's what I did. Never again. Okay, what's next?
Okay, so we got some lightning round teasers. So we got Platinum Games are working on 2 new IPs, and it's planning to self-publish. So it's basically they're trying to make sure they can actually publish their own games under their own license instead of relying on a third party. So that's always fun.
Yeah, played
Kinda
any
cool.
of their games, man. So
Yeah,
I think that points to that Nier made a good impact this year. That they made some money off that game and they can start, kind of doing their own thing.
yes, I'm excited. What about you guys? Anything else before we move on to the next one?
no, like I said, I don't play
well-
many Platinum games. The only Platinum game I've ever played was the Metal Gear game, and I didn't really like that.
Oh,
Yeah, I've played Metal Gear Rising. I liked it enough because I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan. I played Nier and I didn't really like it, to be honest. I platinumed it, but it was not really for me. Just didn't really click for me. I'm not really into the sort of like the sort of very Japanese heavy games, stylistically speaking. But yeah, Platinum seems to be on the up and up. I mean, they took a bit of a knockback, didn't they, when Scalebound was cancelled by Microsoft for Xbox One. But it
Yep.
seems that they're kind of like regaining their footing again with Nier, and of course they've got Bayonetta 1 and 2 coming to Switch, and also Bayonetta 3 has been announced for Switch as well. So Nintendo paying for that. They seem to be on the up and up. So good for them. A lot of people really, really enjoy their games. I'm not one of them personally, but I wish them all the best. The more diverse games and developers we have out there, the better it is for all of us.
Yeah, they basically know how to replicate like a 80s or 90s cartoon like action. It's like the Transformers game. Immediately, if you look at it, you're playing like an episode of that show.
Did they make a Ninja Turtles game as well, Platinum?
Yes. Yep.
Sure did.
Uh,
Yeah, well, there you go then.
Didn't we get
80s cartoon.
didn't we get that on PlayStation Plus at one point?
I
Is it a
don't
PlayStation 3
think
game?
so. I think so, wasn't it? Oh, what was it called? Like Sewers something or other. I really can't remember. I knew it was like sort of cell shaded or something. It was like similar to that Transformers game they did, which I think was before it or after it.
hmm.
The Platinum Transformers game, was that before or after the Ninja Turtles game? Because I really can't remember.
That was before I got that early. Then the Turtles one got announced. Because they have like a A team B team kind of stuff. So the A team works on the bigger ones and the B works on the little ones. You can see like in the mixed reviews like which games are the ones are made by the A team and which ones are made to the team. And in Transformers and Ninja Turtles' case, like the A team went directly to the Transformers Devastation game, while the TMNT ones were made by the B, and it's noticeable.
I guess they were just trying to find some franchises to throw at the wall and see what would stick, really.
Yeah, but it's kind of fun. Um, let me.
Apparently, it's no longer available.
Oh, really?
Got pulled from the store.
But you can get it physical.
Oh, can you? I imagine. So.
Yeah, you can get it physical. I've seen physical copies around. So, yeah, if you find it, go get it.
All right, okay, well, moving on then.
Next one is we got details on Shenmue 3 coming on the way during 2018 as a teaser. Oh, I'm looking forward to Shenmue 3. Hopefully, we can play the first two games as well.
Another...
I imagine I haven't played games at all. I don't really know anything about them, to be honest, so can't really have any input on this one.
Yeah, I've never played it either. A lot of people go on about it on Twitter, so I assume it's a good series. But I've just never personally played it.
What about you, Justin?
Nope.
Oh, okay, then we're moving on.
Okay, moving on then.
Okay, so now, Capcom. So remember when I told you like they're actively looking for IPs? This just basically confirms it. So Capcom on Twitter, people were asking about what IPs might be looking after. So after all this is over for Mega Man, apparently they're short staffed because they want to make more IPs, further develop them. One of them in particular is, let me pull up the tweet right now. Onimusha, and the other one is Dino Crisis, which is interesting.
Yeah, I see a lot of people on Twitter sort of reminiscing about Dino Crisis. I enjoyed those games back in the day. Dino Crisis 1 was pretty scary, pretty tense. Like it's basically it is literally Resident Evil with dinosaurs. It's the same director, the same gameplay style, the same like inventory management style, the same puzzles. It's Resident Evil but with dinosaurs as the enemies, and it was good. It was fine. The second game was a little bit more action orientated because it was more about sort of running through levels quickly and gaining combos and killing dinosaurs quickly, and you had like sort of more automatic weapons and different playable characters and such. The second one was good. I didn't play anymore after that. I know there was Dino Stalker, which was like the like kind of light gun games kind of style, sort of like on rail shooter, and then you had Dino Crisis. I don't know if it was called 3 or 4, but it was on the Xbox. It was like futuristic, set in space. You were like on a space station. It was like interdimensional dinosaurs or some nonsense like that, but basically it's gone well off the rails at that point. So, but a revival or a remake, I mean, it'd be cool to have a remake of the first one, sort of on par with like Resident Evil remake, like it was from the GameCube and later brought to other consoles. I'd definitely try that. I'd definitely play that again for nostalgia's sake.
Well, yeah, that would be interesting as well. So, looking forward to that alongside with Devil May Cry and Man. And yeah, that's about it. So the next article we have is the we got a new Hideo Kojima interview, which explains basically the development process behind further development process of Death Stranding. Um, so what we already have a lot of stuff that we already know about the game, but this focuses mainly on how the game was being developed at the time and how stressful it was because the game is constantly being worked at over and over and over again. It seems like, according to the article, many of Hideo Kojima himself is trying to get this out because he knows goes back again and revises the script, he will change a lot of stuff. Like in Metal Gear Solid, he constantly like reduce a lot of stuff. He mentions in the article that he wants to find a way to make that the game itself is a new entitled game, and he doesn't want to go back and reduce stuff, which is questionable, but at the same time, it's gonna be interesting. What do you guys think?
Well, he's always been like that, though. He's like a perfectionist. I've seen like documentaries and behind the scenes, like footage of him working on previous games. He puts a lot of work into it and wants to incorporate as many ideas as possible. Like, for example, back during the development of Metal Gear Solid 2, he gave everyone on his work team, on his development team, a sketchbook, a notebook, and he'd tell them to write down any ideas at all that they could come up with, like little sketches, little ideas for gameplay mechanics. And he would like take the books back after like, I don't know, a day, a week, whatever, whenever, and then he would like look through them all and like pick ideas out that he thought was really good. For example, the Metal Gear Solid 2, where you have to like freeze spray C4 to make them inactive. That came from one of those developer sketchbooks. So he's always trying to like incorporate as much as he can. Plus, also he's like, I guess he's just his perfectionist nature of just trying to make the best games he can at the time. Like I remember him saying, like in a later interview about like how he was not necessarily disappointed, but he didn't. The PS3 wasn't as powerful as he would like it to have been or thought it was when he was developing Metal Gear Solid 4. Otherwise, he would have made it even grander than what it was. So he's always really striving for excellence, I guess. But that's why he is who he is and where he is today, and how he's like universally regarded as like a almost legendary status video game developer within the industry.
I think he's the Stanley Kubrick of video game directors.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way of definitely a good way of describing him, for sure.
Yeah,
and with this new game he's developing, it's far out like a Kubrick movie, that's for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned like that there was some stress involved in this new game, but I can only assume it's good stress because there's certain types of stress, and then there's Konami probably levels of stress. You know what I mean? He was under that boot for about 25 years, so thank God he's free.
I mean, I think he just doesn't want to become the next. What was it called? The Last Guardian. Like always teased but never shown, and when the game came out, it's gonna be critically, or maybe something like Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what he feels when he sees like, oh, we don't want the people to keep them waiting, but at the same time, I don't want to take my time with this game because I know I have creative freedom now.
Keep those people waiting. They're only bitches on Twitter. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Make a good game. Make a good game.
I think he needs to take as long as he needs, but you just need to shut up now. You just need to stop and go make this game. Don't show us a trailer every 2 months. Don't go interviewing every other week. Like, it feels like we've heard about this game and it's a year and a half, 2, 3, 4 years away.
This is the second interview, right?
Yeah, but we've seen 3 trailers.
Yeah. But
no gameplay. I'll just
no gameplay. Yeah,
still don't know what it is. Like, what is this game? We don't know.
You will finish the game, and you will still say that question. I guarantee.
Oh, that's true.
There was an article, wasn't there, saying that it's coming along quicker. Like Sony says, they're surprised that it's coming along quicker than they thought it was going to. So, but we don't know what that actually means, though. Like in terms of game development, because what are they making that comparison to? Like The Last Guardian, for example, or God of War, or another one of their games?
I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting development cycle, and I'm excited to see what the hell is going on, and I'm excited to pre-order that game. And it's gonna be one of those games I will pre-order just for the hell of it.
I'm very excited to see what he does. I just think he needs to go away.
Go
Give it
back
a-
to your drawing board,
just-
Kojima.
Just take a year off without showing any trailers or anything, and just
He
when you
did
come
that
back,
years
have a
ago.
direct.
He did that years
Yeah.
ago with Metal Gear Solid 2. They announced it, showed a trailer, and then they did this thing where it says, I remember it was like something like Metal Gear Solid 2 is now submerging, and they, air quotations, submerged, went back under again, didn't say anything for a long time. I don't know if it was like a, 6 to 12 months, somewhere along that line. And then they came back and like had gameplay and basically started up their, like early PR and marketing, So yeah, you might do
Yeah.
the same thing, but I guess they just want to keep people thinking and talking about it. But when you release really obscure sort of wacky trailers like they did with the Game Awards, it's going to get people talking, but it also raises way more questions than it answers, of course. But I think we've spent way too long talking about Death
Yep.
Stranding, not just on this episode, but just in general. We can't pick it
Everybody
apart.
I want to. I really want to, but I can't right now.
All right, then. Well, let's move on to the next story. If you've got any more.
Yeah. Okay, so we got one more story. Oh well, two stories actually. One is the writer and co-director behind the Uncharted Lost Legacy is joining Crystal Dynamics on the Avengers project. Now, if you don't know, the Avengers is getting a game.
Yeah,
And
that was
Is it?
announced ages ago, wasn't it?
yes, and it's gonna be single player oriented, which is curious. I have no idea where this is going, but I just don't want it to become like the ultimate what is it? Marvel's Ultimate Alliance, which is like the buddy co-op. I think they're trying to separate that and make it a story-based game.
I think this might be what Marvel's doing. Like we're past that. I think Marvel's aware now, like in terms of speaking like movie tie-in games and stuff. I think we're way past that era now of like shitty movie tie-in games where it's just like just something to shift the product. Like you're thinking back to like
Iron Man.
yeah, like that really old Iron Man game, or you've got like some of the really early PS1 like Harry Potter games where they were great, or some of the Spider-Man, like the very first Spider-Man game on like PS2, the Spider-Man movie one, not Spider-Man 2, but the first PS2 one, which was a bit, I don't know, a bit janky at the time. I think so. Anyway, my point is they're aware now that the best way to go forward with movie-based games is try and find solid developers, and they're doing that with Spider-Man on PS4 by going to Insomniac. So I think they're doing that. And now they want to find something for the Avengers, so they're obviously looking at Crystal Dynamics, they're looking at what Square Enix can offer them. So I think they're seeking out solid developers for their franchise now, rather than just doing cheap tie-in games that people just ridicule, basically.
This is what Disney should do with the Star Wars license. Is just give it to other developers, outsource it.
We've spoken about this, haven't we, before previously when talking about Battlefront, that they should have split it up and let other developers take a whack at it rather than just give it all to EA.
Yeah. Come on. I want a single player Star Wars game. Come on, give it to
Giving it to smaller like developers, to do all kinds of different types of games. I mean, Star Wars is a massive franchise. You could do tons of stuff if it was licensed out to loads of different types of developers who are good at different types of genres of games. Let EA do their big Battlefront thing, but let a smaller company do something different, like a single player game, or or a retro style one where like a developer that's good at retro style like side scroller platformers, someone who could like do a version of like Super Star Wars again, but like a modern one, something like that.
Daz, you're not thinking big enough. A Star Wars VR game in space. A dogfighting Star Wars game.
Well, that isn't just like an add-on for Battlefront for PSVR.
No. It's just a purely dogfighting game in space. Just playing with a TIE fighter, and it's like pew 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 pew, and just blowing rebel space up, or the other way around, something like that. That sounds interesting, and we don't have it. I mean, we do have some older games that replicate it, but not in VR. Yeah.
Okay.
Game.
I can imagine that being quite sickening in in VR, whipping past really quickly and going around different canyons and such. But yeah, it always baffled me why they didn't release that Battlefront PSVR thing as standalone. It annoyed me because I never wanted to own the first Battlefront game to like just try out a little bit of PSVR. So it would have been nice if they, let that come out as just a demo, because there's loads of them little demos on the store, isn't there? You've got like the Last Guardian one, you've got the Spider-Man one, like just little interactive things to sort of give you a taste of what PSVR can offer. But c'est la vie. Okay, anything else?
Just one more, and that's the top downloads of 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, this Justin sent me this one. It's actually pretty interesting because it gives an insight on how well these games came out to be. And I'm still surprised that some of these games are in this. Like, for example, on the PS4 games, there's Grand Theft Auto 5, Rocket League, Minecraft, and what was it? This one, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildland, which are, I think it's like almost 2 years old at this point. No, more than that.
Well, those top three you just mentioned don't surprise me at all, because GTA is always charting all the time, in and out, especially with their big update that came, that big, was it like Doomsday or Apocalypse or something kind of DLC, or not DLC, but event for GTA Online.
Didn't they just add the Predator in there too?
Yep.
Oh, that's for Wildlands, isn't it?
Wasn't that Wildlands?
Yeah, that's Wildlands. We were talking about GTA.
Oh, my bad.
I'm just saying that GTA always charts. It's always in and out of the charts. Minecraft will always be in and out of the charts. And Rocket League is Rocket League, isn't it? It's like it's basically just considered an esport now, and it's also got a massive community. So those three games don't surprise me at all. But the Wildlands one, yeah, it is true. They just had they announced that Predator DLC, but I don't know. It doesn't. Nobody really seems to be talking about it too much. But obviously, it's there. It's charted in the downloads.
Surprisingly so, two of the on third and fourth, it's Friday the 13th, the game, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Which, how does this game about Jason is higher than this Gorilla masterpiece?
I don't understand how that game is third most downloaded on PS4. Like, that is wild to me.
No, because some of those servers are kind of like almost empty. No,
that's what I thought, but apparently not.
Wow, it's just impressive. And those the VR games of like Super Hot, Batman VR, Elder Scrolls, Keep Talking, Nobody Explodes, and then we got like more like the video game, like God of War collection, Jack and Daxter collection, those older games, and surprisingly, they have the PS Classic, like Bully, Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, Psychonauts, and surprisingly so, the Jack and Daxter, the Legacy, Precursor Legacy.
Nostalgia sells.
Yeah. I just hope they make more with them.
Okay. Well, none of them really is. None of it really is that surprising. Like I said, nostalgia sells, and the other games are all sort of really big franchises with really strong online communities. So, not really anything surprising there, other than maybe the placement of Friday the 13th around the same place as Horizon. But because I didn't know that community was so big, or at least, sorry, it was like so interesting for people to download it quite a lot. To me, personally, I know it got a lot of attention anyway in general from like a lot of certain like YouTubers and channels, but it always seemed a bit niche to me, to be honest. But
that's what I kind of thought. Like, I just kind of wasn't expecting it to be, number 3 on the list, above GTA, above Madden NFL 18, above NBA. Like, it's above some pretty good games.
Yeah,
okay.
I was fairly surprised as well, to be honest. I didn't think it would be that downloaded.
Yeah, definitely. Because it kind of like came and went, and I know there was a lot of trouble with it at launch with like servers and all that, which is not really surprising, really, considering like a lot of games that are online have a lot of rocky launches. I mean, even like GTA with its GTA Online, that launched like a week later, or was it a week later or a month later? And it still had a lot of problems. So unsurprising, really. But Yeah, overall, it's kind of fairly standard list, to be honest. So if that's like the end of the news section, I think we should probably move on to the tricky trophies.
Yep.
So yeah, our first tricky trophy section of 2018. Now, as you probably already know, but if you don't, tricky trophy segment is where we look back through our trophy collection at some of the most challenging, rage-inducing, or just plain boring trophies we've had to endure to get that platinum or that 100%. We've all had them. So let's get chatting about them. So I tell you what, why don't we go for you, Justin? You first.
Okay,
What have you got for us?
My trophy is in a game called Pure Chess. It
Ooh.
was $1. I picked it up for $1 a couple years ago, probably. But the trophy is Grandmaster, and you have to receive an ELO score of 2,500 or Grandmaster Pure Chess rating, which basically means you need to be a Grandmaster at chess.
Yeah, that sounds pretty tricky, to be honest. I mean, playing chess. I mean, I have like almost no experience with chess anyway. But being a grandmaster at chess, though, for a trophy,
Yeah,
how
it's very difficult.
did you do it? Did you actually learn and become a grandmaster at chess?
There is an exploit. You start at about 100 of their pure rank score. You need to get to 1,000 in order to get the trophy. So you start at 100, and then if you offer a draw for the first 906 points or something like that, then you get half a point every time or a full point every time. So you just go in there and you offer a draw, and you get a couple points here and there, and then you work your way all the way up to 940, or maybe, I forget exactly what the number was, but there's a point where when you offer a draw, it doesn't get you points anymore. So then you have to actually go in and beat him, or the computer. You have to beat him another 40 or 50 times in order to get up to the ranking.
Oh, so it's just leveling up basically with wins.
No, if you lose, you go down.
Ah, oh, that sucks then.
Yeah. So the AI is ranked at 1,500, and you have to get to 1,000. And so if you lose, you go down a couple points, and if you win, you go up by the point.
Okay.
And then once you get to the point where offering a draw doesn't get you points anymore, you have to actually download a chess supercomputer program to get the wins in order to win. Unless you're that good at chess.
That sounds tricky indeed. Definitely not something that I would try. I don't like any of those games where they're actually based on real puzzles like chess or Mojang or not Mojang, you know what I mean? The one with the little tiles. I can never pronounce it. Yeah, something like that. I'm not going to try and butcher it, but the little tiles. Okay, we're moving on then. Claire, what's your tricky trophy for this week?
Yeah, well, for me, I actually chose the games that I've just platinum, Neverwinter. I avoided talking about this trophy earlier when I was speaking about it, so I have some opportunity to say now. Because Justin is playing it, he knows as well. There's basically one trophy that you have to kill 1,000 dragons, but the problem is that there's many different types of dragons in the game, but like only 2 or 3 types of dragons actually make the counter go up.
Yeah, I remember you briefly mentioning something along the lines of this last episode.
Yeah.
So what is the definition of a dragon then by the trophy's requirements?
Not too sure because drakes and other stuff just weren't counted, but the only Void and a few other people like online had figured out that there's a certain like online queue system you can join in different maps with random people and stuff like that. But if you go into a private queue, you have to be max level to be able to like beat all the enemies, but you can get to the very boss at the very end, and when you spawn into the boss, it has 2 dragons there and a big dragon boss, but you can kill the 2 small dragons, kill yourself, and then go back to the boss and just keep doing that random so you can get 2
So
dragons.
just had to farm it.
Yeah, but like when I say farm it, I mean I did that for 9 hours, like
so
just that one trophy you could complete an entire game. Like you could probably complete 3 or 4 platinums, easy peasy platinums in that game.
Why'd you do it, Claire? Why'd you keep subjecting yourself to these really long?
This is where I'm getting here now. This is the point I'm getting to. It's Void. If he had told me I would have to fucking spend 9 hours in the same arena, killing the same 2 enemies just to get 1 trophy. I would not have started that free-to-play nightmare, but I got so, like Justin, you get 75% in, you get so, like once you're 70 or 80 hours in, you don't want to stop, you know what I mean? So you just do it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But you describing that just, man, it just makes my very soul just drop.
It's
Just
an
thinking of that.
ultra rare platinum, and I got it, so I'm very happy. But it was very, very tricky. The tricky thing is having the persistence and the patience to sit down and actually do it after spending 120 hours getting to the level to be able to do that. This is not something you can choose to do at any time. You have to be able to take on all the enemies by yourself, because this is normally a 3-man dungeon, and you're going into the dungeon by yourself in a private group so that nobody else joins. You have to be able to take all that up to the point where you can kill those 2 enemies repeatedly, you know what I mean? And then you just have to have like movies, like I watched all of the new Blade Runner movie, I watched some series, I watched so many, I listened to so many things just doing this one thing in the background, you know what I mean?
At least you can multitask.
Yeah.
At least you've got,
Yeah, you have to essentially for those kind of things, honestly. So
absolutely,
it was like the only tricky thing I know was persistence. But I'm very glad I got it done.
Cool. All right then, Vec, what's your tricky trophy for this week? No? Okay. Well, I'll move on to me then for the time being, seeing as Vec's just disappeared for a moment. Okay. Well, my tricky trophy for this week comes from Hitman Contracts, the PS3 HD collection. I went back to this earlier this year. Sorry, my mistake. Last year. I haven't quite gotten used to that yet. I went back to it a little while ago because I actually found the game, the physical copy of it, of the disc of the collection, the PS3 game. I found it in my cupboard, and I've forgotten all about it. And I did actually originally plan to platinum the games, but I just kind of either forgot or gave up or lost the will. But I kind of became reinvigorated and wanted to try again. So popped them back in, reinstalled them, and tried again. And for Hitman Contracts, this is one of my favorite games from the PS2 era. I played it a lot. I just mainly messed around in it rather than played it legit. Just used to just run around shooting everything because I didn't really care about getting it done properly back in the day on PS2, back before trophies. But I wanted to go for it this time. Pretty straightforward, really, if you're using like video guides to get like the silent assassin, like the top rank in each mission. But the main trouble with this this particular trophy, is actually one of a group of trophies. Rather than collect all weapons, it's broken down into several different trophies. So you've got collect all firearms, but underneath those trophies, you have all melee weapons found, all handguns found, all machine guns, all assault rifles, all shotguns, all sniper rifles, and all heavy weapons collected. Now, all of them, I could all choose as a tricky trophy, but what I'll do is I choose the rarest one, and that is all sniper rifles collected. When you collect a weapon, you actually have to finish the level with the weapon in your inventory. So you have to find it in the level somewhere. You have rare weapons that only appear in certain levels, like sawn-off shotguns only appear in very particular levels, for example. But the sniper rifle is particularly tricky because there's only one that appears in the very last level and is a real arse to get because if you've played Hitman Contracts, the very last level in the game is particularly difficult because you have to escape the level and you're surrounded by police everywhere. You have to escape out of an apartment. There's snipers everywhere up in the buildings, and it took me many different attempts of many different methods to try and get it, because as I said, you have to finish the level with it, and as you can probably imagine, a police sniper is not easily just going to give up a sniper rifle without obviously drawing attention to yourself. And if you draw attention to yourself in a street full of police, you're going to get killed. So yeah, I had to do it in a certain way where I had to shoot the sniper with a silenced weapon without drawing attention. And he's up on a building where you can't go, sort of above the map in an inaccessible area, but he can see you and you can barely see him. So I had to take him out with a silenced weapon, and just pure luck. This, like I said, it took several attempts to do. pure luck, he dropped his sniper rifle down off the building. Sometimes he didn't, sometimes he did. When he didn't, I had to restart, do it all over again. The weapon will drop down in the middle of the street. I have to go out there disguised as a police officer. And in that game, when you get too close, your suspicion meter goes higher and higher and higher, and eventually triggers, and you get killed because everyone knows that you're Agent 47. So eventually, I got down to the street, got the sniper rifle, and just barely got out. It's an escape vehicle. You have to get in a car, so you have to go and get the keys for it. I don't know. It definitely took a few hours to get right because even though I had the method down perfectly, that game's a little bit random when it comes to the AI and the suspicion with it. So yeah,
I'm
the getting that one gun, just that one gun alone, was probably the hardest gun to get in the game. So therefore, it makes the all sniper rifles collected trophy for me the trickiest trophy in Hitman contracts, just because of that one gun. And yeah, like I said, the AI is all over the place with the suspicions. In some attempts, they wouldn't even notice you. In other attempts, they're like shit hot and they're on your case straight away and just kill you instantly. So yeah, it's just one of them games. It's an old PS2 game, so the AI is a little bit glitchy in it. But
I'm
yeah.
just jelly. I'm just jealous that you have like a physical copy of Hitman. That's kind of rare.
Well, I don't have it anymore. I think I traded it in once I got all the trophies.
Oh,
It had,
you could have
I
sold
don't.
it to me. Come on.
It has Hitman 2 Silent
Cool.
Assassin on it,
Yes.
Hitman Contracts, and Hitman Blood Money on it. And I had
Yep.
literally no interest in playing Silent Assassin, like the second game or the first game on that disc, because I hear it's
The first game is not on that disc. The first game is on PC only, which is codename.
no. I mean the first game on that disc, as in like
okay, sorry.
2 Contracts, Blood Money. So yeah, I had no interest in playing that game on that one because I heard it's particularly glitchy. Like when it comes to like not glitchy, but like the AI can be a bit trigger happy sometimes. I thought, oh, I'm not gonna. I never played it as well, so I bought that collection because I was nostalgic for Contracts and Blood Money because where I played them so much on PS2. I hadn't played Silent Assassin, so I had no interest in really playing it. I only bought it for the 2 later games on the disc. And the other game, like Blood Money, it was definitely easier to platinum, I think, than Contracts, just because I don't. You didn't really have to do the weapons thing as much, or at least it was easier. But I'm glad I got it out of the way. Anyway, it's still quite a rare one actually. If you look on PSN profiles, I guess just because it's an older game now, 12.27% for platinum rarity on that. But yeah, man, I really did like that game back in the day. Contracts, just I would just you could unlock the minigun and just take it into the level with you, and I'd just walk around just going mad with the minigun because it had like 5,000 ammo or something like that, or 900.
Wow.
Or like just basically close to like infinite ammo, not literally infinite, but it would take a long time to empty it. So I just walk in like no fucks given, just like not even bothering with the stealth, just mow everyone down. An absolute psychopath. But yeah, good games back in the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything you guys want to add before we sort of
Wait,
slide on into a wrap up?
You skipped me.
Yes, of course, did. Sorry, really sorry about that. Go on, your tricky trophy. Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
sorry, I left off for a second. I came back. So yeah, so my tricky trophy is from Brink. I mentioned this before. I wanted this a bit more, so here it is. My tricky trophy is tough as nails. So here's the story. One of our members, Mac, came to me asking if I had a copy of Brink, and I said yes, I have it. And so he asked me to help him boost for this particular trophy. Now, the trophy in question is Tough as Nails, which is an either or option. So, the game is mainly a multiplayer based co op game, but it also has a single player campaign, which is basically the multiplayer maps but with bots. So the campaign is like win all the storyline main campaign missions while playing either online versus or in hard mode. Now, if you're going for this trophy, my suggestion is go tag it on with a buddy and play it because the servers are empty. Like you can see the tumbleweed on the side of the road, but that's how empty they are. We queued up this week for the whole day, basically, playing the online story mission. And I gotta say, not a big fan of the AI balancing in this game because the AI is so frustrating to deal with, especially in one of the missions, which is early launch. Um, this one is the hardest mission in the whole entire because it requires you to be um complete two objectives, but both of the objectives are very hard because they're close to the enemy spawn, and you have to fight them as the of one of the sides, the good guys. Oh, quote unquote good guys, whatever you want to put it on the morality scale. Because none of these guys are very morally correct. Um, so in this one, we were basically almost 3 hours trying to finish this goddamn level until we gave up. We finished the resistance one, which is easier, and then we came back to this one and we breezed on through after we upgraded a bit more. But this is hard level to actually go by in the first run because you have to memorize a lot of patterns. Like, for example, where the enemy is going to spawn, what does it focus on mainly at the beginning of the match, then what happens after, what are the best shortcuts to take, what's the best gear to put on, what's the best class to beat, because you have to be a certain class. You have to make sure that one of your operatives, which you have to hack like the last objective, have to do at the same time. It's like so time consuming and time initiative. You have to like manage it so much, and it gives you so little time that it don't give you like overtime after, like, for example, timer for the thing is like 30 seconds, but you only have 27 seconds match. Even though you're almost finished, the game doesn't count as an overtime, and it does have an overtime, which is weird. So basically you're kind of fucked at that point if you can't do it. So besides that, the hard mode is not that bad, especially when you're in online versions, which makes AI a bit easier to manage when you're more than one person at a time. I just don't recommend the platinum in this game because it's just dumb. It's just dumb.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you always seem to go for these really complex, like tricky trophies. I mean, like not necessarily the trophies, but I mean like the
games.
games. Always seem to be like so much legwork for you to get
I
these
just
like final trophies all the
I
time.
I just like that. It's just something I don't mind. I just don't like the arbitrary like easy trophies to get by. It's like I really do enjoy the sense of rush and entertainment I got when getting this trophy because it was surprisingly hard, and it's amazing having that feeling like this accomplishment like yes. So so that's gonna be like one of my main tricky trophies. And afterwards, while we were absolutely done, we were just both like so glad we actually finished this that we forgot that we have like a bunch of other trophies to work with. But
Mm.
we managed to kick those off fairly easy because most of them are like one action specific trophies, and they're not that even that situated. So
Okay,
it's fun and game.
sure is.
Yep.
That's trophy hunting for you. All right
That
then.
sounds awful, by the way.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yes,
terrible.
it
Most of
does.
the tricky trophies that Vec comes up with sound absolutely awful. It's
Yeah,
probably
those
like the
sound
and
like
that's
worst.
the point.
Hmm. All right then. So I guess we're going to slide on into wrap up. We've run long enough, so I think we're just going to wrap up and get out of here. What do you guys say, huh?
Yeah, it's like
This
what
has been
what
it's been a long one, hasn't it? We went off on a off on a
talk
tangent
about
about controllers.
controllers for half an hour.
we need those
Definitely.
tangents.
Okie dokie. So what we'll do is we'll just do our little sign offs, and we'll be on our way. So,
Yay!
Justin, thank you for joining us on this episode. I hope you've enjoyed your time on this episode.
This is her first. No.
This is
I'm
my
pretty
first
sure
time. Yeah.
it's his first episode.
Yep.
Yeah, we
I
never said.
participated in some of the shenanigans episodes, but never the actual podcast.
Never
Yeah.
the real deal. All right, Justin, where can people find you? What's your social media presence?
I am on Twitter at thisjustingames.
Okie dokie. Vec, where can people find you?
You can find me at that Victronic.
And you can find me at the Dazil on Twitter. Okay, thank you for listening. As always, you can find our episodes on our YouTube channel, The Trophy Trust. Please support us there by subscribing to future episodes. You can also find updates on our own Twitter account at The Trophy Trust. If you enjoy our show, please consider supporting us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We're strictly non-profit podcast, but there's always server hosting costs to be paid to keep us on the air. This has been the Trophy Trust. Have a great 2018. Happy New Year from all of us here, and keep on hunting. Bye.